Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of 8 News Arts and Culture. I'm your host, Kendal McAuley, and I'm here with
Catrice Roots, and today our guest is
Fly Papi.
Thank you for coming out here, Fly Papi. And for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about like what you do and what projects you're working on currently.
I'm an artist. I'm from 757 Virginia Beach, Bayside area to be exact. I've been doing music all my life, honestly, but consistently for the last 3 years under the name Fly Papi. I just released a project, December 23rd, called Jenesequa, a new 8-song project. It's just kind of inspired by my trip to France and abroad and overseas, so it has a lot of overseas taste and flavor in it, and that's doing really well right now. My first week's numbers are doing really well.
What was your experience, if you could share that with the audience, like just what was your experience being a part of the Something in the Water tour, or festival, and what is your perspective on it, like maybe even like shutting down, like y'all probably might have been the last people to do this.
No, it's so sad to hear, but I was in awe. I somebody told me to email the lady who did the interview, I forgot her, Cam, had did the interview. They told me email her some stuff, and I emailed her just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of little videos and my bio and stuff. And I didn't know what they were gonna do with it, so I'm just thinking maybe it's gonna be a write-up. But I woke up the next day and it was on the news. My mom called me and said, "Hey, you're on the news."
That's big.
So just the energy before even performing was just already there. Everybody was, because it was one of the only segments that was aired. Mine. So I was blessed by God to be chosen for that spot. But like performing down there was just surreal. People down there expecting us to be down there to perform. They had already seen so many of our stories about Something in the Water and whatnot. So it was a great, honestly, to this day, it's probably the most surreal experience for me as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Being down there performing. I had like 4 shows that weekend, and I recorded it all, documented it all. So it's always been like a staple in time for me. And the fact that it's like in limbo right now of coming back and not coming back is just weird, because we was already looking forward to it earlier in the year, and then they shut that down, and it's like later in the year, shut that down, and they're saying it might not. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Get it together. So for real, shout out to Pharrell. Get it together, man. Get it together, y'all. Not Pharrell, but, Virginia. Get it together.
Yes. Shout out
Salute
to Virginia.
Yeah.
We got some really good homegrown talent out here.
Nah, for real.
Like, we really do.
Really, Virginia, for real, is like, we shake the culture for real. A lot of people don't know that we are really the shapers of a lot of the culture. If you look at all the athletes that come from here,
Yes.
Allen Iverson changed the game of not just basketball, but hip-hop in general. The dress, the hair, the tattoos. Michael Vick changed the style of football. Missy, Timberland. We really shape the sounds of like the new waves. Even Chris Brown right now is probably one of the most successful artists in the world. So like
Very true.
I think a lot. When they say Something in the Water, it's for real. Like we really, when you go other places, people don't even know where you're from. They try to figure out, where are you from? Is you from that? They try to pinpoint it, but they never can pinpoint Virginia because it's just something special about it. So
Very true.
Yeah.
It's definitely a unique place. And even like listening to different artists like you just named, Timberland and Pharrell, Missy, you could tell like, their music, their sound.
Yeah.
And that's the sound of Virginia.
Nah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask, like, what's your biggest like influence musically? Like, what's driving your sound?
I'm from the old school though, so like I grew up off R&B, like early R&B. A lot of that still inspires me. You know what I mean? When I think about like, of course, artists now inspire me. The Drakes and Kendricks and Coles and all the greats. But I feel like the nostalgia of the time that we were in, when we grew up listening to music, that's what molds us into like who we are as adults. So I always try to bring that back into like what I'm doing. And I just remember as a kid hearing certain songs or feeling a certain way because I heard it. So I always try to imitate that with my music. And of course I'm inspired by all the great artists, but I feel like when artists lock in on their own path, they start to like see the greatness in themselves, and then like more of their individuality comes out. So I think over the last year or two, somebody did an interview on me, like the first album I did, and they were like, I can't wait to see him grow. And I was like, grow? I'm good now. I didn't know what they meant by that, but they were right. You know, after the second and third year, I had grew into myself. I had found my sound. I had found my pocket of making music. Like, it's just ABC to me now, you know. So I think I'm inspired by my own growth, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I listen to music daily, but, you know, it's really just trying to outdo myself at this point. You know?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty unique. You know, we have to, that's what music is about, like recreating, you know, using what you've already done and just making something new out of it. Yeah.
And it's been your own spin on it for us, just an expression. So, yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to bring those 90s vibes back, those R&B vibes back. You know, my music is real mellow. It kind of puts you in like a Zen type atmosphere. So,
yes. And I was going to say that, like, I like the 1111 album.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I like the mellow vibe to it. That's more my speed, my vibe. I like mellow rap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to say, what's your inspiration, like, behind the newest album, your latest album, Jenesequa?
Well, I had went to France in July for a show. I had 2 shows out there. Shout out to DJ Dirk.
Okay.
She's actually on the album as well. The album is Jenesequa featuring DJ Dirk, who's a DJ in Belgium. And we've had a working relationship for like 2 years. She's actually, you know, was a fan of mine. Listen, not a fan, but, you know, a supporter listening. And she used to just chime in here and there. And she started spinning my music on her show. And it just came to opportunity where I could go over there and perform at this show that she works at. And so I go over there, perform. I'm at this place called The Kiosk, and it's like this booth that you rap in or perform in, and they're DJing, but there's hundreds of people outside. So when I get there, it's droves of people outside
That sounds
that
cool.
know that I'm there, and you know, that
Okay.
are coming up on me, taking pictures, you know, watching me perform. And so the Jenesequa album is about, you know, my time spent overseas. Jenesequa in the English dictionary means something like undescribable, something that has an undescribable quality that you can't explain.
Okay.
And in French, it means know what. So it's meaning like they don't know how, same thing, they don't know how to explain it. So that's what this album is. It's like, it's a vibe, but you don't even know how to describe it.
Right, it has that
Okay,
special
like
touch.
undefined.
Like, yes,
I like
undefined.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I was about to ask about that too, because I was like, that song "Talk." I held this back because I was like, I was gonna message you about it. I was like, I'm gonna talk about it in the interview. That song "Talk." I was like, oh, I love the way how like you got the French rappers in there, and then you come in there. Like, I just love that blend of culture.
You know, it's so crazy. When I was recording, I recorded that song in France. So when Baylock, who I've been working with for the last couple of years, asked me to come to the studio, I go to the studio, and I'm just in my mind, I'm like, how is this gonna work? You know, I don't speak French, they don't speak English, a little bit of English here and there, but it ended up working out, and they put the beat on, and everybody like did their own thing, and I was like, wow, that's just how it came together, and this the way it sounds. You know, together it's just crazy that it sounds so good together, and it's French and an English rapper on it. So I love that song, and I love what they did to it. The guy singing, you know, his name's Dixie. He's on the, you know, the chorus. So I like the song. I love the song. Spotify, it's going crazy on Spotify right now because of the fact that it's probably, you know, have French rappers on it. So yeah, I love that song. And we decided to call it "Talk" because of the language barriers between us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And music, that's a universal language right there. Like, I appreciate the diversity in that. Like, it was definitely a difference between the 1111 album and the new album, Jenesequa. I was like, I like the diversity. I feel like
all my albums are going to have like themes
genres.
to them. Yeah, they're going to have different feels and vibes to them. Like, you know, so like no one album is going to sound like the next one. They're all going to have their own set individual vibe for real.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, you look at all our the people we listen to, it's the same. You know, if you're going to do it, you got to do it, you know. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to make it better.
Yep, and keep it turning.
Yeah, keep it turning.
Yep. But I was wondering if you could please share with the people what you have coming up for 2025.
Yeah.
2025, I think last year I had a quiet run. I had 2 albums I dropped. I had the show in France, of course, and the Juneteenth show. I had a lot of things actually happen last year. So this year is just definitely more performances. I definitely want to roll out, like you've been seeing me with merch. I have a clothing line called LSC Playhouse. Shout out to Rob. We getting that together. Shameless plug, but you know what I'm saying. We got clothing line that we're rolling out this year. We also, have our dispensary company that we're working on as well, Legendary Farm Life. I'm going to Charlotte tomorrow to actually shoot a podcast there for a big podcast that they have in Charlotte. I'll be shooting a music video down there, be out, moving around. But this year my goal is to really try to drop 3 to 4 albums and really increase the network, right? The network and the net worth. I think it's that time. I think when certain artists get to the points of releasing so much and doing so much, everything starts to become about the bottom dollar at the end of the day. So I'm definitely trying to get out there a little more, get a little more support, and make FP a household name sooner or later,
Well, we look forward to seeing what you have in store for us next. And before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, where can we find your music, your socials, drop your socials, all of that good stuff?
So I'm on Instagram at Fly Papi with 2 Y's. It's FLYYPAPI. You can also follow the Lifestyle Group LLC. And then on Apple Music, Spotify, I'm on all major platforms, all streaming platforms. If you search me on TikTok, I'm up there. If you search me on Instagram, to use my music, I'm up there. So I have 13 projects out to date. Definitely be rolling out another 3 or 4 this year. So we looking to increase and expand, and follow me on all my socials. Shout out to you, lovely ladies, for allowing me to come through. This is a big deal to me. First Wavy TV10 and now WRIC.
That's our affiliate, Wavy, and
that's our sister station.
I appreciate being out in the 804. Y'all allowing me to come up here. Catrice, who's just done excellent things, by me and for me. So I appreciate your support and helping me.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming out here. Because this is a big deal to us.
Yeah, I couldn't do the Zoom. I had to come see you. I was in town, so
we appreciate that. Thank you for coming all this way from the 7-5 to just share with us. We appreciate that.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.